it's Paula from Tantrums.com, and today we're going to talk about getting your newborn to sleep at night. Now, getting a newborn to sleep does not mean sleeping through the night. That's where we need to make things very clear, because your newborn is not going to sleep through the night. It's impossible. It's important to know that each baby is different. There will be setbacks, and you do need to be patient. I'm not going to pretend in this video that getting a newborn to sleep at night or getting used to the sleep patterns of being a parent of a newborn is easy. It's not. It's exhausting. But you always have to remember that it's short-lived and that within 6 months it should be done and dusted and you should be getting a good night's sleep. So just briefly, an outline of what you can expect your baby to do does make it easier for you to understand what's happening with your baby. So if you know that your baby should be needing between 14 and 17 hours of sleep in a 24-hour period, and that they will need to feed every 3 to 4 hours, sometimes even more frequently. So that's a lot of feeding, and it means there's not going to be much sleep had. So by 2 to 3 months though, they should be having between 2 and 3 night feeds. So already it will have been cutting down gradually. So as long as you're moving forward, as long as they're feeding less at night eventually, then you're on the right track. So what are the reasons that your baby might not be sleeping at night? First of all, they might be having day-night confusion. Now, I have vast experience on this. My own son was completely round the wrong way. He wanted to sleep all day and be awake most of the night. It's very, very common, but there are things that you can do to switch this around. First of all, make sure that your baby's not falling asleep during feeds in the daytime. That might mean you've got to tickle their feet, take some of their clothing off, keep talking to them. It's very important that your baby takes full feeds during the day, otherwise they will be waking up more at night to make up for that lost feed. Daytime feeds can be had where there's noise going on, where there's other children around. It doesn't have to be in a really quiet room. Babies are so focused on just feeding and sleeping at this stage that they really won't notice about much what's going on around. But in the background, it will help them understand the difference between a daytime feed and a nighttime feed. And there needs to be a very clear difference. Another thing is to make a definite difference between day sleep and night sleep. In the day, it's perfectly okay for your baby to sleep in a Moses basket in a busy part of the house. They don't always have to be in a cot in a darkened room. I know some people tell you that you must always put your baby to sleep in the same place all the time. I don't believe in that. A versatile baby during the day, when it comes to sleep, is your biggest asset. You want your baby to go to sleep in different locations during different times. It's nap time, it's not sleep time. Nighttime sleep is a completely different thing, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So you're going to want to teach your baby the difference between a daytime sleep and a nighttime sleep. Nighttime sleep has to be low-key, in a darkened room. You don't talk much. You just get on with the business of picking your baby up, feeding them, maybe having a nappy or diaper change, and then putting them back in the cot and settling them. So moving on to the next reason why your baby might not be sleeping is they need to be swaddled. If you haven't swaddled your baby, this might be the time to do so. Swaddling makes your baby feel safe and secure, and it stops them having the startle or moral reflex, which is a big reason why babies wake up when they're asleep. We lay babies on their back now, quite rightly so, because we now know it's safe. And when they're in that back position, it's very easy for them to do this startled, and this can wake them. So swaddling helps with that. There are some great swaddles out there now that aren't complicated, that you don't need to get yourself all tied in knots about, but try swaddling, because it really is a good way to make your baby feel safe and to help them sleep better at night. Now let's talk about self-settling. Now this is a controversial subject, I know. Most people out there will tell you that babies are not able to self-settle until they're about 4 months old. I don't entirely agree with that, and in all the 30 years or so of being a Norland nanny and raising my own son, the most success I have had has been with settling babies to sleep and getting them into a good sleep routine. I think that sowing the seeds of self-settling can happen a lot earlier than 4 months. If you've been cradling your baby to sleep for all those weeks and then you suddenly say, right, now it's time to self-settle, I'm going to put them in their cot and expect them to sleep, they are not going to do it. And I wouldn't either. I mean, the thing about babies is they learn very, very quickly. So even bad habits can be established in a very short space of time. And once a bad habit has been established, it is incredibly difficult to break. So when I talk about self-settling with newborns, I'm not saying that your baby should never be cuddled and should never fall asleep on you. I'm not saying that at all. And in the first few weeks, that is absolutely fine. What I am saying is that you should give them opportunities when they're awake to be lying not on you, or in a safe environment, in a crib with a mobile, in a Moses basket where there's people walking around. They won't stay awake for very long. They might just even drop off to sleep without you even realizing it. So they will start to self-settle. But the earlier you sow these seeds, the better. I am not an advocate of letting babies cry out at this age. You should never do that. If they don't like it, if they do not want to be put down, then don't do it. But there are plenty of opportunities during the day when you can put your baby down while they're awake, and it will in turn get them used to not always being held in order to fall asleep. So another reason why your baby might not be sleeping well at night is due to the sleep environment at night. You need to have your baby in a darkened room. It needs to be the right temperature. They need to be dressed accordingly to the time of year, so either swaddled or in a sleeping bag. And everything needs to be low key and consistent. Use of a white noise machine is also brilliant because babies like consistency in sound. During the day, they've got that in normal household noises. At night time, any sudden noise will wake them. When they were in the womb, they were used to lots of noise. So actually a white noise machine helps to maintain that consistency. So the final reason why your baby might be struggling to sleep at night is that you don't as yet have a bedtime routine, which is quite normal. I wouldn't expect you to have a bedtime routine immediately that you bring your baby home. But very soon after, having a bedtime routine in a way that I mean that you get your baby ready for bedtime, for that change in activity in the day. So you're moving from the hustle and bustle of your normal daily activity and getting them used to that winding down experience at the end of the day, which means they're more likely to sleep more peacefully and for longer periods of time at night. That's the aim anyway. When you feel you're ready and you want to start establishing a bedtime routine, here's a quick rundown of what my basic bedtime routine would be for a very young baby. Start off with bath time. Doesn't have to be everyday bath. You can do topping and tailing or a conventional bath. I've got more about that on my website about bathing a newborn, because it can be quite a daunting experience to begin with. So if you want someone to talk you through that, then link to the description box below and there'll be some more information about bathing your baby. Once you've had the bath or top and tail, that's an ideal time to start some baby massage. It's very soothing, gets your baby relaxed, very conducive to being ready for sleep. Then you could even sit and look at a book. Here I go again on about my baby books, love them. Don't think that your baby can't take it in, and it's also a very bonding experience to sit with your baby. It's very calming, and it's be something that you will establish for many years to come. So bath, book and bed can start from newborn and it can go right through to older childhood. And once you've had a look at a book, sung a nursery rhyme perhaps or something like that, then they'll be ready for their pre-sleep feed. So get nice and cozy. This is the time when you do want a quiet environment for the feed. You don't want any distractions. You don't want much noise going on. You want them to get dopey, sleepy. Make sure they have a good feed in a very calm environment. And then it's time for bed. Put them down in their crib, and hopefully they're either asleep or they are almost asleep. Make sure they're swaddled or in their sleeping bag and put them to bed. Then you can turn on the white noise machine, because that's excellent for keeping, as I've said before, noise consistent. And then you should be able to have a few hours to yourself. I do believe that you should put your baby down after their early evening feed in the crib in the room they're going to spend the night in. You don't need to have them in the house with you at that point, sort of downstairs, or if you've got a baby monitor. Very important for you to have that evening time to yourself. Keep checking, that's fine, but the sooner they get used to going to bed, the better. And then when it comes to nighttime feeds, you just need to keep them low key. Not much talking, don't turn on any bright lights. In fact, you shouldn't really need to talk at all. This is the business of getting baby up, feeding them, changing their nappy if need be, and settling them again. And settling them as quickly as you can. Whatever they've got used to or you feel comfortable with. Again, I wouldn't encourage always rocking them to sleep. The sooner you can put them down and start patting them or rocking the crib. Gradually getting them used to not falling asleep on you is also good. But just do things at the pace that you are happy to do, that you feel comfortable with. But there's your basic bedtime routine, and you will build on that bedtime routine for months and years to come. And it is going to be the building block of the way you settle your baby and your young child to sleep at night. So just to recap, things you have to bear in mind when you're going through this very, very exhausting phase of parenthood at the very beginning is be patient, expect there to be setbacks. You might do brilliantly one night and then the next night feel like it's all falling apart, and then you'll be tired the next day. Don't beat yourself up. It'll all iron itself out eventually, trust me. And by 6 months, if not before, you should hopefully be getting a good 8 hours sleep at night. So if you want more information on all aspects of helping your newborn to sleep at night and getting that bedtime routine established, and some of the tricks and tips along with the ones I've mentioned and some more as well, then go to the link below in the description box and you'll find a lot more information on my website. And until the next time, happy parenting. Goodbye.